Hey friends, let's talk about March. This has been quite a month. I think I said that last month felt like a short month, and I was trying to do all the things in a short period of time. And then this month felt so much longer, but it was full of so much energy. Big happenings in the month of March. Well, it's prom season here, so that means taking time to go prom shopping. So, for any moms out there, you know what that is like. It's usually a full day activity. I remember last year we left around 10 a.m. We didn't get back until 10 p.m. And so this year I shared with my daughter, like, we cannot do the same thing again. Right? We have to be intentional with what we're looking for. And, if we have a plan, then maybe things will go smoother. And they did actually. We went shopping, we went to a couple of stores, we found a couple of options. We ended up ordering two options just to make sure that there was a backup plan. One option got lost in the mail, so we just had one option to go with. Luckily, it was her top choice. We ran into some issues, with finding a seamstress in the local area that was willing to work on the dress. So we had to, you know, what we do, right? We call up all the friends and, hey, do you know anybody? You got anybody? I was able to track down a seamstress in the Orlando area, and we were able to get the dress taken care of. So, luckily, that is all done and over with for now. But this is like the beginning. This is when things start to get pretty crazy here because we're entering birthday season, we're entering prom season, we're entering graduations. There's just a lot going on this time of year. So I'm bracing myself for everything that's coming down the road. Is daylight savings time. Man, that gets me every single time. Like, I just can't find a way to properly adjust. I wish they would just do away with it altogether. I don't even realize, I don't think I realized that it was the change in time until like 2 o'clock the next day. Like, it was so discombobulating. So now it's just, getting into the habit. I think just this week my body started adjusting in terms of sleep schedule. So oh, what an ordeal that is. I think the other big thing that came up for me this month was boundary work. And this was interesting how it presented itself. uh, when you're starting a new channel, there are so many things that you want to do, that you want to create, and your mind is just going with all the things that you would love to do. And sometimes it gets away from you. And I found myself in that situation where I was just agreeing to do so many different things that I thought would be so cool and interesting, and they were. It was taking a toll on me, right? I have to remember that in addition to this space here, I'm also a mom. I also work. I'm also the primary provider for my family. I have a home to maintain. So there's a lot of things that fall to my responsibility. And when I take too much time to devote to my channel, then the other things start to suffer. So I really saw that coming through for me. And I probably around the second or third week of the month, I realized that I needed to make some drastic changes because it was hectic. I had a lot going on. I had a lot of plans, not just on my channel, but on other people's channels. And in the end, I ended up having to turn down a couple of opportunities because I could not do it without it taking a toll on me both mentally and physically, because I tell you, like at the end, I was just spent, completely drained and tired, and trying to find ways to catch up on my Z's. So that is the big lesson for me for March, and something that I am kind of taking a closer look at and working towards, because balance is really, really important, and having boundaries is important. But in my mind, I feel like, what's the sense of having a boundary if you don't maintain or honor it, right? So, you kind of have to do the work all the way through, right? You have to see it through. So that is something that I am working on here at the tail end of March, and I hope to continue to implement into April. Well, let's start with books. As per usual, I am still working on my Year of the Hermit journal. And as you can imagine, because I had a hectic month this month, there were times where I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And so, I just made notes to myself what was happening that day. Well, there were other activities going on. So I just made little notes, added stickers wherever I could, or jot down some reflections. But I don't let this weigh on me. I don't want it to feel like a responsibility or a task, right? If I have time, I sit down and I do it, and I enjoy doing it. And if I didn't have time that day, that's okay. Tomorrow is a new day. That's kind of my approach with this, and I'm really loving it. I'm just wrapping up month number 3, and I would have to say, in this book, probably the only part that I haven't made a lot of use out of is the intro to the month, right? Because in here, there's a spot for activity, ritual, there's a tea blend, then any moon work that you're doing, a tarot companion, and then a section for notes. And I would say pretty consistently, that is a section that I haven't been filling out as much as I do everything else. But everything else in the book has been great. I have been enjoying it, and I'm still feeling just as excited about it as when I started in January. I wanted to make sure to share that, because I've had a lot of people reach out and ask me, do you still feel the same way about the journal? So my answer to that is yes. Yes, I still feel the same way. Yes, I still love it. Yes, I'm still doing it. And yes, I am allowing grace when I just don't have time or energy to focus on it. The other book that I was reading was The Indigenous Continent. If you know, this was a very massive, chunky book. And I was probably about halfway through, but at that point, I had checked it out of the library 3 times and it was done, right? They were done with me. So I ended up having to, make amends and say, thank you for the insight that you have given me. And some other time in the future, when I have more time, I'll be able to pick this up and continue the lessons from the book. So I had, a bit of a ritual around, like saying, you know what, I didn't get to finish, and that's okay. So the book was returned, and I will pick it up at some other point in time. And then the last book that I've been working on is this one, Under the Big Top. And this is the guidebook for my Cirque du Tarot. I've spent a lot of time with this book getting to know the cards and the deck. I want to say that I probably worked with the book and with the cards for a good 2, almost 3 weeks before I actually even used the cards. Because in the beginning, when I first tried to read with the deck, I got nothing. Like, I pulled the cards and I just stared at them. And I was like, oh my gosh, like maybe I should have done a deck interview with this, with this deck. But it was just a big change, right, to what I'm used to. And I felt like I needed more time to study and learn from the deck. But more on that when we get to decks. New things that I have been doing. Well, I think I've shared before that I do most of my video editing on iMovie, and I have found it to be quite useful, and it handles all of the necessary tasks that I needed to do for my needs. But here recently, I encountered a situation where I was struggling with a video, and I had no other choice but to switch to a different tool. And so that was interesting slash stressful because I had to teach myself the tool and go through it as quickly as possible in order to still put out my content when I wanted to do that. So that program will be CapCut. So what I'll say is I am feeling pretty good with CapCut at this point. I've used it maybe for 3 or 4 videos, and it is quite similar. Like there's a lot of features with that are the same with CapCut and iMovie. But I think the biggest win for me is that I get to do CapCut on my laptop versus iMovie. I have to do it on my phone because I don't have a Mac. So I feel like that's the biggest win. The other thing is that with CapCut, it allows me to do a few extra things that I normally am not able to do with iMovie. So when I have situations where I need to use those special tools or techniques or whatever, then I'll use it. But if I don't need it and if it's a pretty straightforward edit, then I'll just stick with iMovie. But yeah, it was cool to learn a different, service, and they were very similar, but had to do quite a bit of Googling and watch quite a few videos. Like there were certain things that I like knew 100% beyond a shadow of the doubt how to do in iMovie, but I just had to figure out how to do it in CapCut. So now I'm feeling pretty good. The other thing that I would say that is new that I started this month was a deck study on the Earth Woman Tarot. Now, this is a deck study that is hosted by Carrie's Mystical Musings, and it's over on her Discord channel. It started at the beginning of the month, and that has been a lot of fun and very interesting. And what I'll say about the study so far is, initially when I got the deck, like there was no waiting time. It was like I got the deck, I opened it, I started to use it immediately, and I loved it, right? So I had very positive feelings about the deck. But doing the deck study and taking such a close look at the cards, the suits, comparisons, and all the different things, you start to catch things and realize, like, oh, maybe I would have done this differently, or maybe I would have done that. And it has been very, very interesting to read what other people that are also participating in the deck study had to say, things that they mentioned or noticed that I was like, what? I didn't see that. And I'd go back to the deck. Oh my gosh, there it is. Like I didn't even notice. So it's been a lot of fun, and I'm glad that I was able to participate. So thank you so much, Carrie, for hosting. It's been a blast so far. The other platform that I have been on is Patreon. Now, Patreon is a service that I have been using for a little bit of time. I have some, favorite content creators and artists that I really like to follow there. And here recently, I added 2 more to my Patreon list, and one is the Patreon that is being offered by Amethyst Ascension. That has been amazing. Rochelle is so great at putting out all this awesome content and material, and filled with like tips and things that you could do to improve. And I just love it. I feel like that was pretty much as soon as I heard her video where she was sharing, I think I might want to do this, I was like, I'm on board. I knew that it was something that I wanted to do. So I'm glad that she put that out and made it available to all of us. And then the other Patreon is my dear friend Robin, who has an astrology Patreon. And so it's been a lot of fun. She and I have been working together, and I invited her onto my channel. We had a great discussion, and it's just been a lot of fun doing that. So it's just different. It's interesting to kind of get to know and work with other platforms, because sometimes Instagram or some of these other things that we have, they just, I don't know, it just doesn't cut it, right? So sometimes you need something else. So that has been a fun addition to my practice this month. Let's talk about new decks because I'm entering birthday season, and yeah, it's evident. So the first deck that I picked up for myself that recently arrived is my Tarot of the Guiding Muse. And this was one of those decks that, like, as soon as I saw maybe like two cards, my higher self was like, oh yeah, we need that deck. And I'm gonna say I didn't fight it. This deck is so cool. And I love, I'm a big fan of watercolor. And so I really love that. I love the colors. I love the art style. This is like Japanese inspired art, and it's just so cool. It's a completely different take on a deck. This is, I think, my only deck where one central figure is followed throughout the entire journey. So that has been a lot of fun to get to know, and I am very much looking forward to putting this to good use. So that is my Tarot of the Guiding Muse. The other deck that is new for me is a deck that I received actually as a gift from a beautiful and lovely subscriber. Thank you so much. This was a gift, and it is my Tarot Landscapes, and missed the card. Okay, this deck is very new. I just recently received this, so it's still in order because I have yet to go through the guidebook. One of the first things that I do when I'm bonding with a deck is first I go through the images and I see if there are any takeaways that I can just pick up on using my own intuition. And then after that, I like to read the guidebook and see what the creator had to say. And sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I saw that. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I missed that completely. And other times I'm like, I disagree. That's not what I see when I look at the card. So it's just an interesting, part of my process. And so I would say that I am gonna be likely working with this deck in April, learning it, getting to know it. But it's a very beautiful, beautiful deck based on landscapes. And I want to thank the lovely Ravneet for sending this my way. I am forever grateful and appreciative. Thank you. The other deck that I recently received, very new, hot off the press, new to my collection, is my Tarot of Aphrodite. This is not a new deck by any means. This deck has been around. It's a fan favorite. People love it. And now that I have it, I can see why. It's gorgeous. This is a deck where I really feel like the camera doesn't do it justice. It's just beautiful. The cardstock is beautiful. Everything about this entire process was amazing. Ordering the cards, uh, the the service that you receive when you place the order, the follow up that is sometimes required. The packaging was exquisite. And the shipping time, I mean, I received this deck so fast. And I'll share that I ordered 2 decks for myself for my birthday, and I ordered this one, which came from overseas, and then I ordered a second deck from Make Playing Cards. And I received this deck, and the Make Playing Card deck is, first of all, the Make Playing Card deck was way more expensive, for one. And for two, the shipping cost was the same domestic as the international shipping for this deck. And that deck is out there somewhere, I don't know, in production. I don't know what's happening with that deck. I'm finding like, a lot of people are putting their decks on Make Playing Cards, but gosh, it's just not fun. That's just not a good platform. It's like so hard to find decks there, and it's not an intuitive, system. It's just a challenge, man. And then, and it's not cheap. It's not affordable, to go there. So anywho, what are you gonna do when you see a deck and you fall in love with it? You have no other choice but to go wherever they're selling it. So that's what I did. It wasn't my first Make Playing Card purchase. It's not going to be my last. That deck will come when it's good and ready to come. But in the meantime, I have this one to enjoy and love. And this is my Tarot of Aphrodite. Decks that I have been using. So let's start with Oracle. A deck that I don't know, I pull out randomly when I feel like I need it. And it is my Morgan's Tarot. And I share this all the time. The Morgan's Tarot is not actually, it's not actually a tarot, but it's called Morgan's Tarot. And it's a cool and funky deck. These are the card backs. And I pull these out when, I don't know when spirit tells me to. They're a lot of fun, but they're also, like very direct. This deck doesn't fool around. It's very direct and straightforward. It's going to tell you what you need, whether you like it or not. And sometimes it's not nice. Sometimes it's not nice. So this deck is, sometimes I use it as a clarifier at the end, right? At the end of a reading. But every time it gives me exactly what I need to deliver to the querent. So I love it. And I don't put it away. It's in my tarot box right here. And it's always handy because you never know when you're going to need the Morgan's Tarot. The other one is a playing card deck, Oracle deck, and this is the Weird of Sarah Howard. These are the card backs. I love this deck. This is the only deck that I have from this creator. You'll recognize the artwork, right? Same creator as the Bone Stone, as the Tarot Avatara, as the Frida deck, like all the same. Why can I not remember? Let me see. Gabby Angus West. Yes. And this deck is it's a playing card deck. It's a lot of fun. She recently put it back out into the world. She made a few changes with the keywords. I am considering like adding the original keywords onto this deck somehow, but I'm thinking about it because I struggle with I struggle with the idea of writing on a deck. So I don't know. I'm playing with that idea and I might do that, but this deck is awesome. It's a lot of fun. It's very clear and easy to work with. And I pull this into my readings all the time. If you don't know, I tend to mix tarot and oracle, and occasionally I'll sprinkle in charms as well. And that's how I like to read, with a lot of different layers. So when I add the oracle to the tarot, sometimes it just really transforms my reading. So yeah, that's the Weird of Sarah Howard. The other deck that is a must for me is my Fortune Cookie Oracle. This is just a fun, clever little deck. And basically, it's a fortune cookie on every single card. This is photography art. and each fortune cookie message is relevant to the artwork in the image. And again, this is a deck that always gives you exactly what you need in order to close out a message. And I just love it. I love this deck. I do believe that this deck is going out of print very soon. This is a V Love and Crystals deck, and I just adore it. I've had a few over the years, but I think I only have two decks of hers, and this is one of them. And the other one, is the same. Like I love it. I love it, and I use it all the time. So yeah, this is my fortune cookie oracle. And this one is an oldie but a goodie. Here are the card backs. This is the Soul Seeds. This is one of those decks like I never want to use it because, like, I don't know, some of the words seem to be like out there, some of the keywords. And for a while, I pulled out like a bunch of the cards. Yeah, this doesn't resonate, that doesn't resonate. And then I was just using like a partial deck for a while. And then recently, I went back and I added some of the cards back in. And I just don't grab for it as much as the Soul Trees Ascension, right? But some of the cards in here I love so much, and I just have a hard time. And my daughter loves this deck, and she's always like, no, don't get rid of it. And recently, my spirit guides are funny. They always come into my dreams, and that's where everything goes down. And then, my bad if I don't remember. I'm just gonna have to work harder. That's just how it is. But sometimes I do. And this is a deck that came to me in a dream where they said, you should pair that to the Cirque du Tarot. And I woke up and I was like, no, that makes no sense. And I fell asleep. And of course, as always, you forget the dream. But they weren't messing around. So they triggered the memory. I was doing live readings and using the Cirque du Tarot, and I remembered. So I pulled this deck out, and it completely transformed the readings with that deck. And I feel like now I don't know that I'll ever use the Cirque du Tarot deck without this one, because together they're magic. They belong together. I really believe that. So this is my Soul Seeds. Let's move on to decks. So I kept it very tight this month because I was working with some decks with intention, right? So the first one is going to be my Ellis deck. So I'll show you, these are the card backs. And this is just a zany deck, right? And I used this deck for a month, and then I had like, I don't know, feelings about it, right? I felt like I needed more time with it. So I pulled it into the rotation, and I used this and two other decks this month. Now, what I'll say about this deck, it's a very good reader. The readings are very clear. I know exactly what I'm looking at and what the message is. What I find with this deck, though, is that it's not for everyone. So sometimes when I'm working with a querent, they just look at the deck like, oh, and it just doesn't click or connect. So for that reason, I don't pull on it very often. Uh, and it's interesting because sometimes when I read for someone who identifies as masculine, they connect with this deck right away. And when I read for someone who identifies with the feminine, not so much. So at the end of the month, what I'll say is the jury is still out on this one. I do like it. It reads well. But it's not a deck that I go to. It's not a deck that I grab and think, oh, I know the Ellis deck would be perfect. Like, it's just not like that. So the jury is still out on this one. The other deck that I had lukewarm feelings for was my Tarot of Oneness. So again, I did the same exact thing that I did with the Alice deck. I pulled it back into the rotation and I used nothing but this deck and the Alice deck. And I'll tell you, the same exact thing happened. It reads well. I understand the messages. The court cards are confusing for me at times. I can't remember. I don't like that I have to, grab the book to look to see, okay, does that mean queen or page or knight or what's happening? So I thought that it was something that over time, as you work with it and got used to the deck, you would just kind of pick up. But I'm not there yet with this deck. And again, the jury is out because I don't have a set number of decks in mind in terms of how many decks I should or shouldn't have, but I do want to make sure that the decks that I have are being used, right? I want to love on all of my decks. And so I don't know if this is one that's going to stay in my collection or not. So I'm still kind of figuring it out. And I would say for this one, the jury is still out. No decisions have been made. And the last deck that I worked with was my Cirque du Tarot that turned out to be a pleasant surprise. These are the lovely and beautiful card backs. This deck is its own thing. This deck is its own thing. It's different. It's unique. It has a shadow side. I feel like almost every single card is a shadow, and it's quirky. It's different. I read with this deck completely different than I would read with any other deck, but it's been fun. And sorry about that. I almost lost them. Here what I would say is it was helpful for me that I took the time that I did in the beginning to learn the deck and get to know it, and then pairing this deck with the soul seeds was just genius. Credit spirit guides. So sorry, why is it that sometimes our guides tell us stuff and we're like, nah, and it turns out to be like, that was the best idea ever. So yeah, I'm still working with this deck and enjoying it. This one will, I don't know, I think I may keep this in the rotation for next month. I'm not 100% sure. We'll see, but definitely loving getting to know it and working with it, and more to come. I feel like the biggest drawback on this deck are the court cards. So once you can, make amends with that in your mind, let it go, right? The fact that they went with non-scenic, uh, a non-scenic cast of characters for the court cards. Once you get over that hump, then you should be okay. But yeah, that is my Cirque du Tarot. For the nerdy stuff, I really like looking at this information when I am recapping my month because it kind of helps me to see just how much it is that is going on, and it helps to validate, right? Like this month felt heavy and this is why. Like when I look at these numbers, I'm like, no wonder you're gonna make yourself sick doing this. So this month I put out 9 videos. Nine, 9 videos, okay? I myself hosted 5 lives. I had 30 shorts that I prepped and uploaded. And then I was on lives for 4 other channels. So think about it. That's a total of 9 lives. Get it? 9 lives. That's a total of 9 lives and 9 videos for a total of 18. How is that even possible? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, this weekend I finally caught up on my Z's and it felt so, so good. It felt so, so good. So I'm really looking forward to working harder at protecting my space, my energy, and keeping in mind that when I'm offered opportunities to join people on their channel, that's not the last time, right? There's always going to be other opportunities that come up. Sometimes it's okay, to say no. There'll be another chance to do a collaboration. So we need to give ourselves grace. Don't try to do all the things, because then you'll be like me, completely exhausted, consistently taking deep breaths, lighting candles, ringing bells, trying to clear energy and do all the things. So pay close attention, to your energy, to your body. Your body is always going to tell you and warn you when things are not right. And listen to that, because it's not worth our mental health. It really isn't. So that is what I pulled out of this month, and I'm sharing in case, anybody else is going through something like that. It's hard, right? Because you're so excited about doing all these different things, and you really want to see your channel grow, and you want everything to go off well without a hitch. But, you have to kind of work at it slowly but consistently. I feel like that's the best method. I don't know. That is what I have for you, friends. So thank you so much for listening to all my ramblings. Already I could see this video is much longer than what I anticipated. Sorry about that. But thank you so much for always being here, for your love, for your support, for your engagement. That means the world to me. I am forever grateful. And thank you so, so much. Bye.